Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Joes of all ages, welcome to the main event of the evening.
It's Talking Joe with Chief and Steve.
Yo! Yo, Joe! Yo, Joe!
Hey, it's me, CHIEF to the DOG, joined by you in Australia.
S-Jobs 8, I'll wear my cunt.
That last bit sounds a little bit close to the bone in terms of a dodgy phrase, but I'll let it slide.
It's a South African colloquialism, man.
Yeah, okay. You may have heard, listeners, another laugh in the background there. That's right, because we managed to drag someone in off the street into the Talking Joe studios to join us for this special episode, and it is none other than MateMylar, aka MateMylar, hero of toy photography across the globe. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Thanks for having me. This is a blast. Just a pleasure.
Fantastic. So glad that you were able to join us. Behind the curtains reveal here, we're actually late recording because Steve forgot that he had another prior engagement.
Gotta make the bacon, baby. Like $15 an hour. Oh, jeez.
Is that what it is?
Teaching English. Yeah, no. They're killing me, man. I need to find a real job.
Yeah, so how have you been? How's your week been?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you, man.
What? Okay, so, I've just been holding the fort. Kim's been working like a dog, but she's now got the week off, and I'm dying to do some retro gaming, man. I'm inspired by the most recent Streets of Rage 2020. So I'm going to do a replay of 1, 2, and maybe 3 with Kim as my player 2. It's the one game that we can actually play together. She likes it.
Okay, yeah. I might also, now you've given me homework, I've got far at that Streets of Rage, I guess.
Buddy, best. Which is better, the first or the second?
Second, I think.
Yes, very good.
Yes. Matt, new guest on the show. How has your week been? Busy?
I fill it with whatever's going on at the moment, not working because of the whole state of the world. I'm an audio engineer, so there's no live concerts, there's none of that going on. So I'm just playing with G.I. Joes, doing photos, doing some housework, some renovations, and just having fun.
Good stuff. You're over in Nova Scotia, correct?
That's right, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada.
Yes. I've been, I think, close-ish. You can approximate it better than me, but I did do camping in Maine once, which is, I guess, not too far away.
No, it's, let me see, maybe 7-8 hour drive.
Oh, right, okay, not too bad. I got a friend who used to live in Boston, and I went over there to visit him, and then we took a road trip and went camping up there. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, Maine's nice.
Yeah, very good. We got some lobsters, boiled up some lobsters. That was pretty cool. Freezing at night. But
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I'm just trying to think what I've been up to. Not much, really, to be honest. Starting a new podcast. It's in the early stages. I think it's going to be called The Sporting Saloon, where me and a rotating cast of co-hosts take a look at a sporting event from the past that's maybe anchored by a documentary or a TV show, and then kind of break down the show and the events around that period. And me and my Bosnian friend, Big Z, took a look and a breakdown of The Last Dance, which aired recently on ESPN and Netflix, and we have a good long chat about that era of basketball, the kind of late 80s, early 90s, and yeah, it's a good chat, so look for episode 1 of that coming soon. We've got a few more lined up, which will be good, but what it does mean is that my evenings are ramajammed with editing and recording at the moment, so all busy.
What show is this, Chief? What show are you currently recording, man? Do you remember?
Is this the Clone Wars Dispatch?
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay. So, yeah, on season 1, episode 4 of the Clone Wars. No, wait a minute, that's all right.
Oh, and on the topic of cold nights, Chief, I'll have you know, not only am I wearing a shirt, I'm even wearing pants.
I am absolutely distraught because all week my opening line was going to be the world demands to know. The question on everyone's lips is Steve wearing a shirt? And I completely blanked on it as my opening gambit for the intro to the show, and luckily you've bailed me out by reminding me. But correct me if I'm wrong, you said you were wearing a shirt and pants.
Even pants. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Is the shirt a button-up?
It's press studs. Listen to this.
Oh, no,
I love it.
Destro, baby. Where's my gold chain at?
Where's your Baroness? Yeah. Listen, I am hungry in my loft. I don't know about you two boys, but it's time to go for the snack police. Potato chips, crisps, biscuits and candy, washing them down with a whiskey or a brandy, chewy sweets, cookies, built around jerky, snacks running fair because we got them at our mercy. We're snackers, attackers, bad mother truckers, and we're eating all the crackers, munchers, crunchers, knockout snacks like we're heavyweight punchers. The snack police are in his house. Okay, who wants to go first? We've got a trifecta of snacks today. Matt, as the guest, let's. If you've got one, have you got a snack?
I do have a snack, yes. I'm a big cracker fan.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys have this where you're at, but vegetable thins, they're made with vegetables, and yeah, they're all over here. Had them as a kid, ate them all growing up, and anyway, so the grocery store, just the regular generic brand name. I didn't really recognize the package, so I grabbed it real quick. Didn't really look at what the flavor it was. It just assumed, yeah, they're my regular vegetable thins. Got them home. It's not my regular vegetable thins. They're something different. So fire roasted vegetable thins is what I have. So yeah, I'm gonna crack into them now, and let's see how these compare to what I grew up with. There's got to be some crunch going on here.
Yeah, do it. Crunch away.
All right, here it goes.
It was a very civilized crunch, man.
Yeah, it was. The verdict?
These are lovely.
Excellent. 1 for 1.
It's got that vegetable taste, but it's like red pepper hummus.
Fire roasted.
Yeah, red pepper fire roasted hummus flavor on top of the...
So in the UK, the closest approximation would probably be a bag of crisps or, I guess, potato chips, but just of varying different vegetables, so parsnips, beetroot, things like that, so the different colours. But these are all kind of the same generic shape, size and colour?
Exactly, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Salt, tomato, powder, carrots, onion.
Okay.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Good stuff. S-Jubs, fire it up.
Chief, are you a Kit Kat fan?
Well, when I used to eat dairy, yes, I would eat a Kit Kat, definitely.
Right on. And Matt, have you ever heard of a chocolate called a Kit Kat?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, okay. Well, I've found something called Triple Choc Whirl, which really just is a cheap sales ploy. It's probably got dark chocolate, white chocolate, and milk chocolate just kind of swirled up, It's made.
But how would you know? Surely they could maybe even just say it's triple chocolate, but just put one chocolate in. How would you know?
Well, because it has the different colours, of course.
Oh, I see. Okay,
I'm
different
about
colours,
to
fine.
peel the slab open. I mean, this is a relatively recent innovation. The idea that you can reseal the wrapper. You guys aware of that?
No, wait a minute. So back in the day, Kit Kat in the UK was a 2-fingered bar.
Only?
Then it elevated up to a 4-finger bar. And then it went to, you can still get those variations, I think, but then it went to just kind of a single, more chunky. It got called Kit Kat Chunky in the UK. It's just a one big fat bar. What have you got?
Man, I was a fan of the Kit Kat Chunky, and never such a fan of the fingers, because they're just pretty basic. Yep. But these ones, man, it looks like a top deck, Cadbury's top deck. There's kind of white chocolate mixed in with dark chocolate. But as I say, just a desperate sales pitch. But it's worked, because the novelty got me to purchase it. Let's see if I like it. I broke off one of the fingers, and it's going in the mouth. That's Kit Kat-y.
Another civilized crunch.
Oh, shut up, Chief. How's that? Did that sound like an African?
That
South
sounded
African?
a bit more, that's it. Yeah, lion roar.
What'd you go for us, Chiefy?
So here I sent you a picture. I've got a problem. I've got a serious problem with these things called proper chips, sea salt lentil chips. Now, I also have another problem, which on next week's Out of Timers, which we've already recorded, cheap plug already, I discuss my fascination at the moment with hummus. I cannot stop. I probably eat one can of chickpeas, which I make into a hummus every single day at the moment. I cannot get enough. And to go with that, I need something to dip it in. And now I'm not dipping, like Ben was saying, he dips, out come the celery sticks and the carrot. Get rid of that junk. I might be, dairy-free and trying to be vegan, but I'm not stooping so low as to put vegetables in my hummus. I need something to dip, some chunky kind of chip or crisp or cracker or something like that. So the reason I bought these, and the simple reason was I was looking for something that was cheap, and these were £2 sterling, reduced to £1, and I thought I'd give these a go. And I got them home, and they lasted about 5 minutes. Now, this is a big bag. It's 85 grams. Ooh. But it's like the size of like a 150-gram bag, so they're very light. They're lentil. I'm opening them up, and oh man, these are incredible. I'm having one right now. And I had to go back to the supermarket. I ended up buying 10 bags.
Oh my word!
Stop up. And then the missus, there's a barbecue flavour one, and I bought those. And then she opened them and she was like, these are amazing. And she smashed the whole bag. So I had to go back and buy like 10 bags of them. So I got like 20 bags of these proper chips, sea salt, lentil and barbecue. I'll post the images up on the socials, anyone in the UK. Please go and buy some. No, actually, don't go and buy them because I don't want you buying stock from my local store. And I don't want you getting the same problem that I've got, this addiction. Oof. I suppose it could.
But you know what this means, of course, Chief. The stars are in alignment. We are 3 for 3. Three decent snacks. Hey, good stuff. I've stuck another finger in my mouth. I can't get enough.
Right, listen, we are all snacked up. So it's time to get comicked up, because it's time for Comic Talk.
It's Comic Talk, baby. Chief and Steve discussing like crazy. Larry Hama riding these bad boys, making sense of the wackiest toys. Listen as we talk about story arcs, making noise louder than Junkyard Box, talking about character motivations and all the various G.I. Joe fun locations.
Comic Talk. I can't find the issue now. Time for you to do something.
Are you digital or are you hard copy, Matt?
I'd prefer to be hard copy, but I'm all digital. It's really hard tracking down hard copies these days locally here.
True.
Yeah.
Right. So we are covering issues 189 and 190, which is the concluding part of a two-parter, and then the start of a new exciting storyline. And I had a blast with these issues. Let's quickly take a look at the covers. So again, we've just got the regular and the retailer incentive. The regular cover has got the Robo skull, the flying skull. Is it called the Robo skull or just the flying red skull?
Robo skull. Yeah, man.
Robo skull. Okay, and it is bearing down on the whale, which is nice. And
Very
the retailer
nice.
incentive, I'm just looking at Larry's pencils here. Pretty much got the same image. I don't think Gallant done much with this. You boys like this cover?
Yeah, I'm digging this cover. I find it interesting Larry's pencils only has the single gun on the tub guns, whereas the final has the two, like the toy.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got 2 gunner positions, but each one just mounts a single turret. Very good. Yeah. Nice one, Matt. Details.
And then let's jump forward to the next one, which is 190, and you've got Major Bludd kind of standing execution style over Lady J in the jungle. Now, I guess they've put her in her battle togs so that she's recognisable, but she's not actually wearing this get-up in the issue, is she?
No. It's kind of broken down in the issue. She's just wearing a tank top.
Yeah. And looking at Larry's pencils, he's the definite change here for Major Bludd's right gun arm, whereas he's kind of holstering or taking the gun out of his holster on the finished cover, but he's got the gun's kind of pointing way over Lady J's head on Larry's pencils.
I love the finished artwork. Gallant, he created some ambiguity. Is Bludd drawing his weapon, or is he putting it away?
Yeah.
And the kind of time of day that you get from that haze. Jeepers, that's some modern comic book technology that, wasn't around in the ARR run. Yeah. Like, to have that kind of fade, that haziness.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know me, I love the light effects, like Major Bludd's kind of technical aspects of his armor and his gauntlet, sort of showing up in that glowing red striping.
It
Fantastic,
does look cool.
man. Is it powered armor? Yeah. Are we taking that to be powered armor, or does he have a robot hand?
Yeah, must be powered armor. I think so. Yeah.
The debate rages. What do you say, Matt?
I'd like to answer that question with a yes.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Split down the middle.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying it's powered armor.
Oh, then what are you saying, Matt?
I'm going to go with a cyborg hand.
There we go.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. What's your deciding vote then?
No, buddy. I'm not gonna.
Fence.
I'm gonna plead the fifth. I'm gonna remain Switzerland on this one.
Okay, Matt. In terms of your association with G.I. Joe from a comic point of view, how far back does that go?
As a kid, issues were hit or miss. I think my first one was issue 63 that I bought just on Snake Eyes being on the cover alone.
Okay.
Read that. I might have been 6 or 7 when I got that, and really had no idea what the story was going on. I was very familiar with the cartoon, so there's a lot of things that were very different, contrasting from the cartoon. That being said, over the years, I have read the comics a number of times. I'm going back and rereading from the start again. I'm up to issue, I think, early 40s, late 30s, maybe. Yeah, so more of a cartoon point of view, but yeah, very familiar with the big talking points from the comic, like Snake Eyes and Scarlet and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Excellent. Good stuff. In terms of these 2 issues here, let's just do a quick recap. Let me flip the page. Last time on A Real American Hero, the Black Major and his Red Shadows have joined with local pirates to board an oil survey ship off the coast of East Africa. Stalker and his team lead the charge, as 2 other teams, one led by Lift Ticket, the other led by Duke, lend air support and provide intelligence. Their mission, rescue the hostages, most prominently Dr. Adele Burkhart. Once on board, the Aiden Explorer, things quickly get out of hand. The Black Major betrays the pirates. Stalker's team fights the Red Shadows through an intense storm topside, and Duke and his team are confronted by a flying skull ship.
Ooh, a flying skull ship, you say?
Jeez. Now, I'm going to point that out, that my first thought here is the flying skull ship doesn't actually get much page time, really. I'd kind of got 10, 12 pages in, and I was thinking, wait a minute, what happened to that concluding page on the last issue? The Robo Skull was bearing down on the whale. Surely it's going to open with kind of that happening. Now, it does appear, obviously, on the first page, although in panel very small, but it doesn't really do much else other than that until later in the issue.
What more do you want, Chief? Damn, man.
Well, I just thought
triple play happening here.
Yeah, I just thought it was going to have more focus, considering they kind of made a thing of it on the last page of the last issue. But I don't necessarily mind it. But
do you miss your toy, mate?
I do, yeah.
Oh.
As in, mate, you're calling me mate. You're not calling Matt mate.
Yeah, I know. I need to watch that. I'm trying to get all like colloquial and like Brits on you, but it's going to backfire today. But yes, you established in the last episode that you had a Robo Skull and you sold it off for a mountain bike. Oh dear, Chiefy.
Well, what can you do? Buy another one, I guess, is the answer. Yeah. What struck me here is, especially when you see the images inside the whale, I love this kind of green glowing lighting effect that's used throughout any of these panels where it's inside the whale. It's really clever.
Beautiful.
It helps to visually set the scene too. Like at a glance, you know that, okay, this is happening in the whale as opposed to what's happening on the ship or in the Robo Skull. Like the hard colors really help sell that.
Yeah, definitely, because the action is pretty intense, like you said, on the ship and in the whale, and it could be easily depicting either of those scenes, but they definitely make a clear distinction there with the colouring. Very clever, very clever.
It's pretty important to understand the configuration of a whale as well. You know, Cutter's been kind of placed inside. You know, it's kind of created a bridge inside the whale, which of course isn't true of the toy necessarily. But what is cool in that interior shot is that you're seeing Shipwreck and Duke scrambling up to the gun tubs from the inside, which is something that, you know, if you were able to manipulate toys inside a whale, they could effectively do that. Of course, you'd have to imagine it because even a child's hands couldn't reach down into those gun tubs and pull a figure out.
Yeah. I mean, things look bad early on because even on page 2, you know, it looks like Duke's a goner.
Yeah. Did you notice that it's all set on black? Like, all of a sudden we've traded typically a sort of white paper stock for like black. You know, it's printed on black.
Oh wow, good eye.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that that particular page? You mean?
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. All the panel borders are all black as opposed to whites on the other pages. Yeah, you're right. I hadn't spotted that.
It comes up again in other parts of the story. I wonder if there's any particular reason for that. And it reminded me of something that I took note of in there was a documentary on the Batman the Animated Series, which said that all the backgrounds were done on black paper,
All right.
which just gave it that very noir feel. You know?
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I mean, it works in this issue, definitely, for those pages. Yeah, I found another one here. It's really effective, actually. But this is a balls-to-the-wall storyline, isn't it? Concluding part. It's very filmic, cinematic. I can kind of picture this as a live-action storyline, and there's no let-up, and it's a credit to Harmer and Gallant that this kind of pace and the dialogue and the art throughout doesn't miss a beat, and nothing feels excessive or out of place, or everything feels spot on to me.
In G.I. Joe, the movie, would this be the first mission that gets the ball rolling, or would this be the final showdown?
It feels like a final showdown to me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I second that.
So they've been trying to like track down Black Major this whole time, and finally they've got him cornered. Nice.
Yeah. And a question answered for me at the end of the last issue was a Del Burkhart shot, but no, it was the pirate dude, the Ngoto's brother-in-law has almost sacrificed himself to jump in front of the bullet from the Black Major. Now, it doesn't really explain why, if Black Major was going to kill Burkhart and he offed someone else instead, why didn't he then just point the gun back at Burkhart and shoot her? But maybe he realised that she was more effective as a hostage.
Gun jam? Or no, I mean, shit really hit the fan from that point onwards. I mean, maybe he had other things to take care of. He was like, no, I can execute these guys later. They're not a threat right now. Let me, the Joes are creating bedlam down there. So
Lots of Joes injured as well. Wild Bill's down, Beachhead's down. Who else is down?
they even
Quite a
say
lot.
Gung Ho's been clipped,
Yep.
but it doesn't seem to reduce his combat effectiveness. He's supporting Beachhead at one point.
Yeah. I'm just flicking through the issue, just, marvelling at how good the art here is. It's fantastic.
It's great.
Matt, do you have an MVP from this issue?
Ooh, I really enjoyed seeing Black Major. Yeah, it was nice to see how Larry wrote him and how it kind of fit into this universe. He was the star for this.
Big time.
Yeah.
Were you familiar at all with the character prior to his appearance in this continuity?
Yes, just from the research I've done on 3D Joes and Yojo.com about Action Force and Red Laser and whatnot. I love the designs. I'd love to army build them one day, but not for a little while.
No.
Yeah, it's just a great additional faction that adds some flavor.
Yeah, really. And this is a great two-part. It's very special missions feel to it. Just by simply substituting Cobra and Cobra Commander or Destro and the Iron Grenadiers for this other faction just gave it, a bit of a shot in the arm, I thought, breaking up the consistent Cobra, Pit, Brainwave Scanner vibe we had, and just really nice little two-parter here.
Definitely.
Roadblock's up to his old tricks here with the 50 cal. Loving it.
Yeah, big time.
What's he actually done here? He's jumped off the Tomahawk and he's got this cable, this winch cable, which he's passed through the Tomahawk and clipped it on the other side. Is that simply to stop the Tomahawk from rolling off the deck?
Yeah.
Okay.
That puts him in MVP territory as well. Gee whiz. Roadblock is the man.
I love how he's explaining what he's doing as he's jumping through the Tomahawk.
Yeah.
I fear that's Larry.
Oh, it made perfect sense as I was reading it. Like, this is exactly how I expect a G.I. Joe story to unfold. It just seems right.
Oh no, there's a cool bit with Wild Bill, and he's shot one of the Red Shadows. He's almost like blowing the smoke off the barrel of his 6-shooter.
I take it that's your favourite player in this game, Chief.
I am a big Wild Bill fan. Roadblock's one of my top 5 all time, so I don't know. Difficult because you've got a good squad here. I mean, Stalker's not put on the sidelines on this issue, but he's not given as much page time as some of the other Joes. Obviously, we're all big Stalker fans here. I guess Matt's a big Stalker fan as well.
Oh,
hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love Torpedo, seeing him kind of very, very tactical. Taking point. He's a badass. And such a badass, in fact, that he didn't even unclip his weight belt. Like, he's in combat and he's carrying about, 5 or 6 extra kilograms.
Yeah, he's got to shed a few pounds, man.
Honorable mention to Cutter for taking out that Robo Skull.
Oh, that wound was sick, where he
Oh
kind of
my.
rolls the whale so that the gun can get a bead on the skull.
It was a couple hours after I actually read the story that I was processing what I had read, and the awesomeness of that moment hit me. Inverting the whale and then using the fans to turn it back over before it hits the water.
Yeah, that is sick. That was amazing. Love that. That deserves to be live action seen in an action movie somewhere, because that's quality. Love it.
You almost need it to be. It's very, very difficult to convey that in sequential arts.
Yeah, which is why you've got the heavy exposition.
Totally. But something also to note about the hovercraft, and if you are familiar with its structure. So Duke gets hit in the gun tub. Instead of slinking down into the sort of concealed and sheltered belly of the craft, Shipwreck moves him to like the conning tower.
Right.
Exposed to the rain, and Prince Ngotto then clambers. I mean, I'm reading between the lines, but he must have clambered out the turrets over the top of the whale and into that conning tower to then administer first response.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, why didn't Duke just slink back down into the whale? I'm going to answer my own question. I guess it's more dramatic this way.
Right. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's why you're here. That's why you're here to pose these difficult questions
And pick those nits. Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Jeez.
Good stuff.
Shut up, S-Jubs.
And the kind of concluding thing here is that the Black Major gets away because they think they've got him, and he's kind of almost kicked the Red Shadow pilot, the Robo Skull pilot, out of the vehicle, so he can. It's clearly a one-man TIE fighter style craft. Well, I'm sure you could have fit 2 in there.
I think it does seat a second. I think the toy, if I'm not mistaken, you can fit 2 figures in there. Yeah. There's a rear-facing turret section. Come on, Chief. Yeah. You're letting down the side, man. Does a Robo Skull hold a second occupant? I don't know. You had the toy. You tell us.
Yeah, I can't remember. This was 30 years ago.
I don't understand what happened in the final 2 pages of this issue.
Right.
It's inexplicable. Did the Robo Skull not crash into the boat?
Let me see where it was last seen.
What did you get from that, Matt?
That was my impression before I got to the last page. Was the Robo Skull crashed into the boat.
Suicide run.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, of course, I see it coming forward. You see the Thume, and it is blown to smithereens, you would assume.
The pilot falls down the staircase.
Yeah. Now, however, if you take a close-up on that Robo Skull in the second to last panel of the issue, there is some battle damage to a side of the skull, but it doesn't really marry up with the explosion we saw. It looked a lot bigger than just some dents on the skull.
Yeah, and all of the engines seem to be functioning optimally.
Yeah.
I guess Black Magus knows how to coax something extra out of his Robo Skull.
Yes, yeah.
I'm looking at pictures online of the Robo Skull right now. I'm seeing a couple of hatches, but I can't really confirm if there's a second seat or not.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners, we failed you tonight.
But you're right, I should have known the answer to this, but someone will tell us.
I do know that the pilot's name is Red Wolf.
Okay.
Or the classic pilot. I guess this wasn't Red Wolf, this was just rank and file, faceless Red Shadow pilot.
Johnny Numbnuts. Yeah. Okay, so let's Yojo this. Steve, I know you said last week that as a single issue, you thought it was a 10. As a 2-part storyline, how many Yojos are you giving it?
10.
10? Okay, there it is.
I have no shame. This was great. This is a real page turner. This was not a chore, not in the slightest. There's some interesting character elements that you don't expect. Some warring. Actually, no. I'm talking about the next issue.
Okay.
This is balls to the wall action, and that's all it needed to be. And yeah, it didn't put a foot wrong in that respect.
Okay. Matt, what's your yo-joage on this?
I'm going with 10 for this. I especially like at the end where the hostages are walking down the stairs and they're saying, well, it's apparent none of us have changed our worldview, but we can still agree to, there's room to negotiate and we can keep our humanity. It almost felt like a PSA from the early cartoons.
Right.
Almost, but not quite. But underlying all this awesome action, there's a message to take home.
Yeah, that's a good point because, like we said, it's balls out action, but let's not forget this storyline started with the political intrigue and the boat being hijacked and the opposing points of view, etc. And then, like you said, Larry kind of doesn't just put that in the bin. He does bring it back at the end and, we get a nice put a smile on your face message at the end kind of thing. So, yeah. Now, I feel like a schlub because I've come in with an 8.5. And you two boys are coming with a 10, so maybe I'll have to upgrade. But I'm putting it in as an 8.5 at the moment.
You've got the weight of history on your shoulders, man. You have the responsibility of the Every Joe Story Ever list.
Yeah.
Me and Matt, we coming in here, we just we had a hell of a good time reading these two.
Yeah.
There's intense weather, intense action, nostalgic callbacks to a bygone era. The characters are great. Dude.
Yeah.
How could it not be a 10?
No,
This
that's
is G.I.
fine.
Joe at its finest.
That's fine. I'm going to move on to the next one now, and even more political intrigue in this one. And I am just going to read the brief catch-up, even though it doesn't really tell us much. In the jungles of Southeast Asia, a G.I. Joe team headed by Chuckles begins a dangerous operation. That's it. Mm-hmm. And this one there's tons of intrigue here, and quite a lot to unpack, I think. And again, I've read it before, but I can't remember where it goes or what happens. I did have a brief flick forward to see the issues for next time, and I think this is a two-parter. So we got this one here, and the first issue we cover next week will close out this two-parter. But interesting stuff going on here.
Yeah, man. Like it a lot. My opening remark is going to be along the lines of, have we ever seen a G.I. Joe arc where there is more than one female on the mission? And I'm not talking about the instances where it's a Snake Eye Scarlet, Flint, and Lady J double date kind of scenario. This is like deep cover, and you use your more varied roster. Everyone has a function. Like Lady J is inserted in plain sight. Jinx is working, as kind of her cover in like a medical aid. But anyways, like the point is, they all have their functions and there's no overlap. Because unfortunately, when you've got Scarlet on a mission, do you have room for Lady J's sort of specialties? Or if you focus as Jinx, how do you fit Scarlet or Lady J?
Yeah, it's difficult, and the more you see stories like this, the more I'm thinking, I don't want to say I'd rather have Jinx and Lady J than Scarlet, but I think they almost bring more to the table because you can almost do more with them, because there's this kind of standardized view, I guess, of the most popular characters in any form of media, and if they kind of divert away from that, it's kind of like, but here you can, I'm not saying they're blank canvases that the writers and the creative team can do anything they want with, but it just feels a little bit fresher and newer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's not like a case of the token girl.
No.
Right.
But it's also not hammering you over the head with kind of female representation, which unfortunately happens a little bit later in the modern G.I. Joe run, where you just got an entirely female team, which is wonderful, but it does feel perhaps a little bit heavy-handed.
Right. Okay.
A little bit artificial, maybe. I don't know. We'll get there.
I mean, this one, when we see Chuckles and Lowlight, who are the other members on this team in Southeast Asia, Chuckles is spotting for Lowlight with the sniper rifle out, and he's going to cap off this Generalissimo Tep, who, as it turns out, they're waiting on the green light to basically assassinate this guy.
Oh, I love this.
Which is pretty heavy stuff for a G.I. Joe comic, I think.
Yeah, but always, I mean, their orders hinge on the bureaucrats, the politicians.
Yeah.
It's such a nice note that Hammer has recalled from his like special missions run. It's like, we're out here to do a job, but we're being hamstrung by the people back at the Pentagon, thousands of miles away.
But
they're not experiencing this as we are. Like, we are handicapped.
When the Generalissimo comes in his attack chopper, and basically the locals are building this bridge because there's not 15 kilometres one direction, 10 kilometres the other direction is the nearest bridges, and so they're building this kind of what would you call that bridge? Not like it's like a rope suspension bridge, is it almost?
Yeah.
Which they're building across the ravine, and he doesn't like this. The Generalissimo in charge, so he's brought in the attack chopper, and he started opening fire on all these civilians and Lady J. And I think at this point, Lowlight probably would have put a few rounds into the chopper at the fuel tank or something, maybe. But I think he would have fired.
He says he's carrying boat tails. I think he's got an armor-piercing round. He'd probably want to... I think he didn't notice Bludd, so he's like, let me just put a round through that...
Yeah.
The side of that helicopter.
Yeah. But by the book, I guess, and they haven't been given the green light. But even though the enemy has effectively engaged, you think they might have done. But as it turns out, later on, no one was actually no deaths, and no one was seriously injured in that particular attack. So maybe they were almost firing for effect in the chopper. Yeah,
it is a bit suspect that no one was killed, because they're very, very effective later on.
Yeah.
I really enjoy seeing the internals of a Hind attack helicopter.
Okay.
We've got like a cool gunner position shot from the inside, and you also see Bludd and Generalissimo Tep in the sort of the troop section of the Hind.
Yep.
Something that I don't think we often see.
Oftentimes
you're seeing it from the external.
Yeah. What's the capacity on one of these, do you think, then, interior in that bit?
6, maybe 8. I'm basing this on absolutely nothing. I suppose Google could probably save my ass right about now. So you boys talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
I think 6 and 8 is a reasonable guess.
Okay. Okay. And this, I wonder if he's been buying this off Darklon or not. I'm not sure. Is it Pythonized? It's kind of got a grey camo deco effect. No.
Possibly just excess from the former Soviet bloc.
Yeah.
And a surplus.
Do we know, and again, this is where I've read the issue about an hour ago, and immediately I have questions about what happens in it. Do we know what this insurgent team is there for? They're there to effectively assassinate Generalissimo Tep, but do we know why? And what is Lady J's reason for going out in the open into the village? How does her doing that aid their assassination mission?
I'm just going out on a limb with assumptions here, but obviously there's a connection to Cobra with Major Bludd being involved. I don't know, maybe they're just trying to root him out and expose that connection and find out what that entails.
Yeah.
Purely speculation, though.
But I think maybe they didn't even know that Bludd was there. It was when Lowlight spotted him in the chopper. I think that was the first time they said, actually, I recognise that guy, it's Bludd. So maybe he's just been hired on as a mercenary contractor, freelancer. But yeah, I mean, look, if you don't put Lady J out in the open, non-covert, working with the locals, then you don't get this storyline. So I don't have a problem with it at all. I was just wondering if it's ever kind of rationalised, or if it even needs to be honest. I'm probably just, again, picking peanuts out of poo.
You know what? In the same vein as the special missions, sometimes it's best not to have all the answers up front.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. Not once did I question, hold on, why are these guys here?
Yeah. Again, it's not a negative for me at all. It was just a question.
I got the capacity on the Hind.
Go
8
on.
troops or 4 stretchers.
Okay, right.
So it's got a big, spacious section behind the pilot and gunner.
Yeah.
Really, really big.
I'll tell you what I'm a big fan of in this issue, when the Generalissimo comes into the village to round up people. He's on a horse. Love it. Proper old school.
Good man.
It looks like he's fairly well off. He's got some, kind of flashy, expensive aviator glasses on. So I'm sure he can spring for a little Humvee or even a limo or something. But he likes the horse, and no one else is on a horse. So I thought that kind of gives him a bit more stature.
Those gold-rimmed Elvis glasses, I swear that's like a Rambo trope, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
North Vietnamese, general wearing his... he loves Elvis. So he's got these gold-framed sunglasses. Amazing.
Yeah. There's a big twist near the end where, Chuckles is reporting back to the pit, and then in Washington, D.C., you get the bit where it says, General Abernathy, the political situation in that country has gone fluid. There's a government coup going on right now, and the faction that Tep backs looks like the odds-on favourite to come out on top. Taking Tep off the board was good policy yesterday. Today it stinks. Special ops people know the score when they sign up. So these bean-pushing, pencil-pushing, bean-counting scumbags have basically left the team hanging out to dry, especially with the situation with Lady J. So they're almost going to get called off. But, you know, the situation, like I say, with Lady J is going south fast.
Big time, dude. There were enormous emotional heartstrings being pulled at the end of this issue. I was not expecting it to go where it went.
No. Oh, yeah, you're right. So just, you know, if you haven't read it, then what happens here is Bludd has kind of got, or Lady J's been circled out by Generalissimo. Bludd recognises her as the member of the G.I. Joe team. Then some people stand up, some villagers stand up for Lady J as why to not assassinate her. And it's really powerful stuff. You know, it's nice little contained speeches. And like you said, it was, again, this is very filmic and cinematic, and it was...
It humanizes the entire village.
It really does. It really does. And
right before they're massacred.
Well, Tep has kind of called off Bludd, and he's let me think about it, etc. We need to discuss this further, Bludd. Calls off Bludd. They get back in the chopper, retract. They take Lady J with them as a hostage. Chuckles, Jinx and Lowlight get in their jeep and start driving down, and then holy ball bags, this bastard in this chopper launches out full-on attack mode and basically kills everyone in the village apart from a little boy. Brutal.
And I read that as premeditated.
Yeah.
And you know why?
Go on.
Chuckles goes on, I think it's Chuckles, they go on to describe that magnesium, white phosphorus and thermite was used.
Right.
Now, the Hind has rocket pods. Those aren't a kind of a weapon that you can select different firing modes. You preload the rocket pods with what kind of payload you want to use. And if it was white phosphorus, that means it was the stuff that just burns shit real quick.
Willie Pete.
So all those huts, it was clearly that helicopter set off with the intent to massacre this village.
Yeah.
That's my reading of it, at least.
Yeah, and like I say, there's one little boy, and it's Lan, Lan was the kind of head guy who was helping to organise and build this bridge, and it says it's Lan's son. And then Chuckles, man, this is fist-pumping stuff at the end. To hell with the Pentagon. Generalissimo Tep just wrote his own firing order. I'm getting goosebumps just reading that line now. It's like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, what a page turner.
I don't, you know, even now talking with you guys about it, it's coming through even stronger than when I read it to myself. Comics, as with everything, have this great ability to stir up emotions, and just the written word and the text married with the images can be really powerful. And I don't think I've read too many comics where I've really wanted someone to get it, but here I want these scumbags dead by the end of this next issue.
Yes, sir.
You know, justice.
I think I smell another 10 coming if they can wrap this up nicely enough. But yeah, this was a fantastic issue and absolutely gutting.
Yeah.
Hard as hell.
The end adds so much weight.
Yeah, you're right. And it played out the pacing again. Harmer and Galan absolutely on top form here. You know, say what you will about the recent stuff, and again, I'm not up to date, but I hear some, you know, grumblings about maybe Larry losing his touch. But even at the start of the IDW run, you could have said he's going back to all the old tropes and things. But these last, you know, 4 or 5 issues have just an absolute run of form. You know, arguably matches up to some of the best of the original Marvel series. You know, he's got interesting characters doing interesting things here, political backdrops, good guys, bad guys, and yeah, just really, really looking forward to reading this next issue. In fact, I'm probably going to read it as soon as we wrap up this pod, and then read it again ahead of recording next week. So, yeah.
We're victims of our 2x2 format,
yes,
Chief.
I thought if I'd have read ahead a little bit earlier, which is something I did do back in the day, I would have actually said, let's cover 3 issues today, and then we could have concluded off the previous one, and we could have covered both issues for this arc. But alas, I did not have the foresight to read ahead, but I will maybe do that going forward. If there becomes a clear breaking point for a story arc and we have to cover 3 issues, we'll do that, but we'll obviously let the listeners know in advance which issues we will cover. So,
Chief, I'm not crucifying you for it at all. To be honest, I like doing the reread in almost real time. So the day of the recording of this episode is when I read the comic book, and if it ends in a cliffhanger, man, am I pumped. I think it would almost be, it would kind of give me a sense of what's the word? Not conclusiveness,
I don't know. Completion. Capitulation.
I can't believe I can't remember this word. Stumped.
Okay. Well, you can either leave that in or edit it out so you don't look like a fool. It's up to you.
I look like a fool enough. I'm going to leave that one out.
This is twisting this man's melon now. This is breaking his brain. Okay. You think about it. Again, I'm not going to yo-jo this because I'm going to wait till the following episode. But Matt, as you're the guest here, how do you think this is leaning in terms of a score? What you're looking to give it?
I'm going to geek out and fanboy on this and go with a 10. I like the juxtaposition from the last story. It's not just switching characters out and keeping the same sort of scenario. It's switching characters out, switching the location. We're introduced to a new bad guy. We don't know what he's done or why he's bad. The whole issue is just telling us he's bad, and then at the end we get this example of how bad he actually is. Makes the good guys look really good, the bad guys look really bad. I just think it's marvelous storytelling. That's a 10 for me.
Yeah, brilliant. I think this is like, you've summed it up perfectly there. This is one of those stories, just a little 2-issue one, but could easily get overlooked in the grand scheme of things when you kind of look back at Great Joe story arcs, or even just great stories as a whole from the last 10 years. This is good stuff, man. And I guess you're leaning towards the 10 as well, Mr. S. Jubs.
And I've managed to get my brain out of first gear. Closure.
Closure.
As simple as that. I mean, yeah, if I read the second part of this story, we would have closure, and I wouldn't be as pumped. Maybe I wouldn't be on tenterhooks like I am now.
Okay. Well, that's something to look forward to for next week. But we're done with the comics for now. I think it's time to confuse some people. We'll try our best to confuse Matt, because it's time for Commonwealth colloquialisms. We gotta put in. We're gonna over-egg that pudding. Ain't got no criticisms. We got some Commonwealth colloquialisms. Okay, S-Jubs, are you sandwiching me this week?
Mate, I mean, Chief, I thought we'd get some Canadian slang, so I didn't want to overload it. I'm just going with the South African. Sorry, Aussie, I've let you guys down this evening. But if I was to say, and I'm not sure this is exclusively South African, so stop me if I'm wrong, but if I was to say I was caning it,
yes,
what do you imagine I'd be doing?
I think I know that, but we'll open it up to Matt.
Wow, that's new on me. I'm gonna say maybe injured or deficient. You're
caning it, like
Yeah.
I've been caned.
Can I step in?
Yeah, please.
You can step into the ring. Matt's weighed in. What
If
you got?
you
Chief?
are caning it, you're going full throttle. So if you were in a
Shit,
car
yeah.
and you're caning it, you're going as fast as you can.
Okay, well, that is indeed a Commonwealth colloquialism.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Very familiar with that in the UK.
Not a Frenchie.
But, I was just thinking, actually, we never posited this before we recorded, but I don't know if you've got one to hand, Matt. If you've got a Canadian colloquialism,
I
up your
do.
sleeve.
Yeah,
okay,
I
brilliant.
absolutely do. At least I think it's Canadian. It might be localized to Eastern Canada. Now, I'll give you a little premise, a setup. So after work, you're out at the pub with some buds and band's playing and whatever, having some brews. And every few songs, the band yells, sociable. What does that mean?
What?
Okay, sociable.
Yeah.
Everybody take a shot.
Yeah, I'll be guessing if I said anything, but I would probably go with what S-Jub said, yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much got it. It just means drink. Drink a lot. Drink whatever you have. What's in your hand, drink that now and go get another.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, downs.
Yeah, I would say, even though we guessed it, that wasn't, if someone did that over here in the UK and just shouted out sociable, you know, 99% of the people in there wouldn't know what to do. It's, you know, because most of the people are idiots. But it's not. What I mean is, it's not a common phrase in the UK at all.
Gotcha.
Agreed. I'd say Mate is definitely leading the charge on this one. I've failed. Matt, you got a point, sir. What have you got, Chief?
I had 3 written down that I was going to use over the next 3 weeks, but I say I had 3 written down. That's a lie. I've got 2 written down because I forgot what the third one was. So I'm going to give you one of these 2. Which one do you want? Do you want number 1 or number 2?
Ooh, a guest's choice.
Give me number 1.
Number 1. Okay. If I said I was going to go and have some bangers, what would I be having?
Hot dogs?
Close enough. Sausages.
Sausage. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So maybe
Not
that
to be
is that
confused with a club banger, right, Chief?
Yes.
a club banger, as in a hot tune.
There you go.
Like the track to Bad Luck Lady. There's some baggers in there for sure.
Damn, Matt. Okay, I'll introduce you to my buddy Paul, who did the tracks.
Nice.
I'm glad you liked it.
I loved
It's
it.
got a weird dissonant sound that took me a
Yes.
while to get used to.
Oh,
but
it's so good.
thank you. I'll
Yeah.
pass that on.
Yeah,
He will
thanks.
he will be very, very pleased.
Cool. So I think Matt actually won that round, really, I think. Did he?
Indeed.
Beginner's
Good
luck.
stuff.
Should we play the national anthem? Are you going to stand up and clasp your hand to your heart?
Sure.
We'll just say we did that, right?
Yeah, that all happened.
Yeah.
Underscore.
Okay, listen, we've got to the part of the show that I've been most looking forward to. We're going to have a bit of a good chat with Matt about toy photography. That's one of the reasons we got him on. Yeah, basically, I'm just going to get straight into it. How did you kind of fall into toy photography, and was it something you had on the back burner for a while, or something that just you'd seen other people's work and you got inspired?
Actually, neither of those. I kind of accidentally fell into it. It all started from building dioramas and displays just for my own personal collection. Been collecting for years. And I wanted like muzzle flares and muzzle effects and rockets and explosions and stuff. But I didn't design that or build those or whatever for the express purpose of taking pictures and posting them. That was kind of an afterthought. And after I had completed a couple of dios and had some explosions and whatnot, like, I should just post these on the Instagram, and that they got a little bit of attention. So that's kind of how that happened. After posting a couple pics, I realized I knew nothing about photography or lighting or anything like that. So I just had my iPhone as a camera. So a big learning experience, but I love learning new skills. And in my downtime, I mean, it's really busy in the summer around here for an audio engineer, downtime in the winter. So I often have months off, and I'll just use that time to learn a new skill like electrical engineering or drawing or something like that. And yeah, last winter it happened to be toy photography.
Good stuff. And on a toy front, had you collected lots of different action figures as a kid? And do you use the ones that you use in your set pieces? Are they still some originals, or have you been purchasing like mad?
A bit of both. G.I. Joe was my main focus as a kid. Had some Transformers, a little bit of Ninja Turtles, Air Raiders, Starcom, but never collected any of those things. Only G.I. Joe was collection. My friends were moving on to other things. Turtles were really big with my friends, and it just didn't interest me, so I kind of stuck with Joe. In the pictures, it's a combination of new stuff I found on eBay, some trades and customs, but a lot of it is my original collection.
I'll let Steve get a word in a minute, I swear. But so you speaking about trades, we had a couple of listeners pop up with some questions. Joe Hunter 73, first of all, wanted to say thanks for the trade he did with you a few months ago. And he said Matt's work is so damn impressive, and he's humbled enough to share his work on how he creates his magic, so props again. And he's got a question here. With everything you create, do you ever keep any of it on permanent display?
Yes. Like I said, when I started this, it was just building for my own display purposes. So the first one I did, it's a 2 feet by 4 foot crashed Sky Striker, 3 explosions on the Sky Striker. That's permanently on display in my Joe room. The AVAC taking off, the Trouble Bubble, the Mobat blowing up, all those are permanently on display in my Joe room. And then I've got a bunch of explosions and effects and some 2 by 2 foot square terrain that I just use for my daily photos.
Cool. Good stuff. Actually, Joe's got another question here. What's your favourite years of G.I. Joe Real American Hero?
82 to 85.
There you go. Simple.
The
Done.
sweet spot.
Yeah.
And again, we can kind of come on to this when I start telling you about some of my favourite pieces of yours. He's also asked, do you have a top 5 of your own work? But we'll maybe come on to that a bit later,
Sure.
if indeed you do. There was another question that came in here. I'll just get this. This is from Dave. Dave says, do you make your own props or do you get them from somewhere?
I make my own.
Okay. And in terms of that, I'll kind of feed off of that. How do the ideas germinate? Does something come into your head and then you think, I need to make that prop? Or do you just start dicking around sometimes making things and then construct the piece from the outside in?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
A little bit of both. Sometimes it's like I have an idea of how to execute a particular effect, but I don't know how to use it. And then I'll read something in a story or something will remind me of something that happened. And then I know how to implement that in my photography. A case in point being lighting gel looking like water if you hit it with light a certain way. And I was
Deep Six destroying the bug.
Exactly. Yeah, I was. I
shit.
knew how to do that water effect for a while, but I wasn't really sure how I wanted to use it and pull it off. And finally, I realized, it's got to be with Deep Six V2.
Yeah, that must be a cool moment when you develop a new technique or you see a technique and you try it out for yourself for the first time and it comes off. It must be quite rewarding.
Oh wow, yeah. It's like crack. I've never done crack, but I can only imagine that is the feeling you get from crack.
And you're not selfish with your crack, dude. You give us a behind the scenes on pretty much everything. I am gonna mercilessly poach some of your techniques.
Absolutely.
The star cloth for the Phantom X19 shot.
Ah, yeah.
Masterful idea. Use natural light.
Yeah.
It'll actually show on photography.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man. Well done.
Yep.
For anyone in the dark, I don't know, Matt, do you want to explain how you got the star field behind your Phantom?
Yeah, I used my big picture window in the front room of my house, and I took a bunch of cardboard boxes, collapsed those all down, and broke them up, and built basically a 8 foot by 6 foot sheet of cardboard, and spray painted that all black. Didn't have to be too fancy or anything, and then just had some knives and poked holes in the thing, and until I got something that looked random and chaotic, and taped that up to the picture window in the front, and the X19 went in front of that, and that's how you get your star field. It only works in the daytime, though.
Yeah.
Defiance up next, right?
Yeah.
Wicked. I want to see that bad style. Well, I'll jump back to listener questions. I got one from They Gone. And, okay, interesting. Do you believe your art draws more influence from the past and how the action would play out in our minds? Or is it trying to become its own narrative? Or is there a balance between the two?
There's definitely a balance. I mean, the recreations and the box art and the comic books and whatnot, those are drawing from a specific source. But oftentimes setting those things up and thinking about those storylines and whatnot, interesting ideas pop into my head. So I'm constantly developing new ideas and new storylines and even new characters. And the thing I love about G.I. Joe so much, and this goes back to the cartoon and the comics being so different when I was growing up, it was always just implied that it's okay to have different continuities, and G.I. Joe can be something slightly different or very different to many different people, and it doesn't encroach or step on that other continuity. So you can have the animated series and the comic be completely separate and tied at the same time. So I really love that about G.I. Joe, and I've been trying to think of another property that is kind of the same way, and I haven't really found it yet.
Yeah. And, obviously we're here on the Talking Joe podcast, but anything is free reign. And, going through your Insta account, early on, there were quite a lot of Transformers pieces in there.
Yeah.
And was it a conscious decision to mainly focus on G.I. Joe? There's a cool, actually, He-Man Skeletor one you did recently, but the focus is mainly G.I. Joe. Is that just because that's your main love, or just because of, I don't know, a conscious decision that the toys you had, etc.?
Definitely my main love. Back when I very first started, all of my my ARA figures were in storage, so I only had a few of the modern and some of the Transformers MP knockoffs and whatnot that I got. So I was just using what I had on hand, and when I finally got to my original collection and broke that out and went on eBay and started adding to that, I realized that, okay, yeah, I'm not really interested in photographing modern, even though they're super articulate and easy to set up and make them look good. I really like the challenge of trying to get something more out of a figure that wasn't exactly designed to be superposable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, my man's a purist.
Liberation through limitation.
There's also some magic to using the original figures with their intended vehicles.
Yes.
Like, there's a synergy there that is broken when you setting modern figures against vintage vehicles. I know that's a controversial thing to say. There is a vintage and modern split in the collecting community, but it's always been my opinion that, like, 82 and 85 belongs in that set.
Yes.
And they should be, worshipped almost as that kind of complete, perfect run. It's beautiful because it is finite.
Exactly.
And they belong together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff. Got another question here. This is from Mark. He says, what was your childhood experience with G.I. Joe? Did you have the toys and comics? I guess we've kind of covered that, to a certain extent. And he's got another question here, which is, when you're doing photo setups, do you ever get lost in play?
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm a little bit OCD, and sometimes I get distracted easy, and yeah, so it's kind of a juxtaposition between focusing on one thing and having to complete that task, or getting distracted and running off in a different direction. But last Sunday, I just had this random thought, hey, I should put together my Black Major Snake Eyes that I had apart, a bat-inspired Black Major Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
So through the course of putting him back together, and that's just an O-ring and a screw, and like, what's that, 2 minutes maybe 5 minutes. Well, that turned into a project of creating a custom classified inspired O-ring Snake Eyes that turned into a 3.5-day project, which then evolved into 6 different photos. And yeah, so that 5-minute little thing I was going to do last Sunday took all last week.
Yeah, wicked. Love it. Mark finishes off with a bit of a philosophical posing, amusing. I wonder that as we get older, it's harder to be lost in the pure imaginative play in the same way we do when we were children. Toy photography allows us to try and recapture that to some degree in terms of interacting with the toys and having a slightly more legitimate outlet by photography with a defined output, the photos, which is then justified by our peers, social media, likes and comments. What are your thoughts on this? Quite a deep one there.
I agree with that dichotomy, and it's something I think about quite often. Like, if I wasn't taking pictures and posting them, how would I be playing with my toys, and how would I be using them? I think I'd probably be doing the same thing, probably a little heavier on the building of the dios, like the permanent dios. But I don't think there's any wrong way to play with the toys. So it's great to have that feedback and the social aspect of it. But I just really enjoy the community of the whole thing, and seeing what others are doing and getting inspired from that, and just watching other people's play patterns. It's
enablers.
Yes.
But,
just the tip of the iceberg.
well, look, I mean, for some people, it's their families. I know a lot of fathers love to pass on their love of G.I. Joe to their kids, and it kind of becomes reciprocal that way. I could rattle off a few names right now, but I'm sure you guys are listening and you know who you are. But also, for me, it's also about the community and about coming together with friends of mine. Like, we just upgraded the way we play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not practical to get our Joes out at the bottom of the garden anymore. But this stuff it's quality work on top of the fact that it is still play at its heart.
Yeah, I love it. I've pulled off a few of my favourite images just to let you of your pieces. The first one I've got here is from February 26, 2019, and this is the downed Sky Striker with Airborne helping Ace.
Yes,
and the Rattler in the background. Is this the one you spoke about earlier about the
that
one
is
with this?
the one just after the one I spoke about.
Okay.
I think the title was "Let's Blow Up a Spare Sky Striker."
Right.
And then the last picture, that there's multiple pictures there, and the very last picture in that is the top-down view of the Sky Striker with the 3 explosions.
Ah, yes, yeah.
And that's where it all started.
Love that shot. Just a lot of story behind that one. Just love the story of that. Fantastic. Then I'm going on to. This is March 30, 2019. This is the Firebat launching.
Yeah.
The effect there is just incredible.
I was really happy with the way that turned out. The moon in the background is just a flashlight shining on my wall.
Okay.
The sky is from a projector, 5K data projector that no longer turns on, so I'm not using that anymore. But
Yep.
I just put that out of focus and shine a vista onto the wall. And the rocket takeoff exhaust, that's just cotton glued to some chicken wire with some gel, cellophane lighting gel inside, and a LED light bulb.
Brilliant. And then the shot of Destro inside the Firebat, the arc and the movement, I just get this sense of, he's pulled a hard right turn through the clouds. Really clever.
Thank you. That was, again, a lot of fun to build. I still have that effect hanging up actually in my front door. So every time I come home, that effect's sitting right there.
Next, I'm moving on to May 2nd, 2019. I post all these up on the social media so everyone can reference which images we're talking about.
Nice.
This is the cover, or not the cover, the image from issue 34 Showdown, which is the Rattler versus the Sky Striker, and they're kind of passing each other.
There's a question about do I have a top 5? And I do. They're in no particular order, except this is number 1.
Okay. Yeah, this is incredible. It's so accurate to the actual final, and you posted the final panel up there. It's just a joy.
That was a lot of stress and a lot of fun and a lot of joy. I'm pretty sure I wept when I finally got the picture. It was a day worth of building the effects, a day worth of setting it up, and then a day worth of me just trying to get the right light and getting the right look. So 3-day shot for that one.
Okay. Here's a question, actually, I've got a couple more, but is there a stress point, or do you find there are times when you've put in all this work, created a load of stuff, and you're not happy with the result, or you can't get the desired effect you were aiming for? Does that ever happen?
It does. And those are the pictures I don't post.
Okay. But are you able to mentally kind of treat it as a learning curve, a learning experience, rather than kind of dwell on it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no wasted time. I mean, it's not a success or fail or pass or fail type thing. I'll learn something. Maybe I'll develop a different strategy, or learn something about the camera, or about lighting, or something. I'll take something out of it, even though I didn't get my intended success. There will be some sort of success I can take from that experience and apply it somewhere else. So yeah, there's no failures, just different ways of looking at success.
Cool. I've got 2 more I just want to pinpoint here.
Yeah.
And again, I pretty much universally like everything you've done, so this is, I'm just picking out a few here. But this one is from July 2019, and this is the eels. We've got 3 eels in the shot. The one in the middle is in the focus, and they're kind of coming out of the little raft. It's amazing.
Very happy with that one too, especially the way the water turned out. That's one of the few ones that I got a print of for myself.
Okay.
That one and the issue 34 are sitting in my Joe room.
Yeah, that's just brilliant. And then lastly, I'm just going to touch on one of the most recent ones. It might even be the most recent, the Zartan Firefly handshake.
Yeah, that's the most recent.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, nice job.
Thank
Good
you.
callback, but also a fantastic dio setting.
Yeah.
I like that more than what the artist had going on in the issue. I mean, it's so detailed. Is that Zartan's cabin, or was that sort of more teched out environment that you imagine?
It was Zartan's cabin, but from
Okay.
going back and reading it, he had some sort of cloaking device that made it look rustic.
yes.
And then how about more updated? And he flicks a switch or something, and the whole place just turns into this, technology zone. Very purple and blue in the background in the comics, so that's why I kind of went with that purple and blue lighting scheme. But I really wanted the arm to be silhouetted in that yellow. So there was a lot of very meticulous firing of the hazer machine to get just the right amount of haze to hang in the air long enough that no one else is all washed out, and it frames the arm. And that was a struggle.
Yeah, the glow on the arm is perfect. Jeez.
Yeah, incredible.
I imagine there might have been 3 dozen bad takes before you finally got the haze to line up right.
143.
Jeez.
Love it.
I kind of don't want to ask, like, how many man hours go into each setup. I mean, but
It varies.
the joy of it, like, the juice is worth the squeeze. These are standalone pictures, man. You are peerless.
Wow, thank you.
I think me and Steve spent the same hours earlier in the week and today just going through the Insta and just I don't know, I can't stop scrolling through and clicking on images and zooming in and I just really dig your work, man.
Amazing. Thank you. I have a question for you guys, though, since you brought that up. The graphic you threw up on Twitter, maybe Instagram, but I don't think I saw it. I'm just curious, why those particular images?
It was honestly just I wanted to randomly pick six
Nice.
picks. It was purely that.
Awesome.
I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into trying to choose my favourite 6, or I don't know, just a random variety of your work.
Cool.
Yeah. Steve's just sent me a picture. He's nudging me in this direction. I do want to talk about it. There's one here from May 28th, 2019, and it's the recreation of cover. Is that cover 61, I think?
Yeah. Isn't that your favourite cover, Chief?
No, the Stalker, Quick Kick,
Yeah.
and Snow Job. No, I think we mentioned last week when we were talking about covers, favourite covers, a lot of people said 47 was their favourite cover of the series.
Yes.
And I said I preferred this cover, which is on a similar vein, 3 Joes on the front, kind of firing at an unseen enemy. But yeah, great job there. You know, even the wall looks bullet-ridden. I see barbed wire. Is that chicken wire along the top as well?
No, I cut that wire out myself. I made every barb by hand, soldered it all together.
I mean, it's this kind of attention to detail that sets it apart, because no one's going to bemoan or begrudge you for, using pre-existing wire, but I guess making it yourself, you get the exact end result that you're looking for.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not against cheating. If I can find something that's perfect, I will definitely throw it in. But anything that I had on hand, the scale was just too big, and trying to force the perspective really didn't work because I needed that specific angle for the cover. So it's like, well, I just have to make some barbed wire.
Yeah, I know there's some of my friends definitely are budding toy photographers, and have you got, and I probably should have briefed you this beforehand, but have you got any, 2 or 3 very simple techniques that pretty much anyone can try at home with things they've got, maybe, I don't know, for effects of fog or lighting or things like that, any just, real simple stuff that the regular Joe like me wouldn't have a clue about?
Now, I don't necessarily consider myself a toy photographer. I just like to take pictures of my G.I. Joes. So I'm not really definitely not a professional. I don't really know a lot about photography, but my go-to...
Matt, so self-deprecating. Hasbro would be so lucky to have you on payroll back in the 80s, man. You would sell a lot of toys with these
thank
images. Let me just say.
Anyways,
continue.
My go-to when it comes to photography, they're not really golden rules, but I find when I follow these 2 rules, I usually get a result that I like, even if it's not the result I intended. Keep the lens below the eye line of the subject that you're shooting, so you get that looking up angle. It's more epic and dynamic. And a small little aside to that is don't have the subject looking right into the camera. It looks like it's contrived and posing. So, just kind of tilt their head a little bit off the side or whatnot. And number 2 is 2 points of light on either side of the key person you're trying to light over their shoulder, so you get that rim light, and that really helps differentiate your subject from the background and gives it that depth of field and the 3D effect, and it'll make your subject pop.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I might even try some of those techniques myself.
I highly recommend it.
Spot on.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fact that your framing sometimes cuts off characters from the feet, from the thighs. Like, a lot of people with toy photography, this is a trend that I hope people start bucking, is they almost make it too much like a toy catalog, and they're selling the action figure. They want them completely framed, head to toe. Everyone's in long shot. You vary your framing quite nicely, and there's a great storytelling to it, which is fantastic. I refer specifically to Lady J blasting away in what was essentially a Dio story, I assume, Operation Trick or Treat.
Yeah, that was a little collaboration between me and another buddy on Instagram, the Papalicious.
Yes.
He's big with G.I. Joe Nation and a min there, and we were just having a conversation one Sunday morning. I happened to mention something about, I got to go set up a Cobra Sunday shot, and he said, well, what are you doing? I described it to him real quick, and he said, I have an idea that goes along with that. You post yours, I'll post the second part, and it was just going to be that 2-parter, and we had so much fun. We just kind of went back and forth. I think we got up to 8 or 9 parts, and it was total Larry style. Like, I posted a picture and then he did the second part based on what I posted, and I wouldn't know what so I'm like, well, if Flint's been captured, then obviously Lady J is gonna bring some pain, and that's how that went. Interesting aside, I got a text message from my mom last night saying something about she thought there should be more female toy characters. Females should be better represented in G.I. Joe, and I immediately sent her that pic, and I said, Mom, I want you to meet Lady J. She is a very strong female role, and if you notice, her man is being assisted out of the complex by another strong female role, Scarlet. So, G.I. Joe has no problem on that front.
Brilliant.
Outstanding. And you're pioneering another way to play. It's a free-form RPG through epic photography. Bounced between 2 authors.
Yes.
That's fantastic. And in terms of both female representation and a worm's eye view, I don't know if you can get more epic than RC and Scarlet with Omega Supreme collapsing in the background. That is some incredible force perspective, man. It gets the enormous epic size of Omega Supreme. It's like, wow, it's a real eye-opener when you do watch the behind the scenes, because obviously, Omega's a huge toy, but he's nowhere near the kind of scale that he's portrayed as in this image. I mean, this is some Tom Sholey shit, man. This is incredible perspective work.
That was so hard to pull off. I had this...
Well, you nailed it, buddy.
Thank you. I had this idea for a shot for a very long time, way before I even got the Omega Supreme. I happened to be on tour around Christmas time, popped in a local comic shop. He was there for just stupid cheap. So no shipping and import charges, none of that. And used my Christmas bonus and picked him up and got him home. Like, I can't wait to shoot this. I got the exact shot. I know what I'm going to do. And he was 25% bigger than the Dio I was going to use. Yeah. So I'm like, well, okay, I got to bend him over real quick and contort him to get him into this shot and get some effects in there. And yeah, I mean, it didn't turn out how I had it in my head, but what comes across in the picture is what I was intending. So yeah, I called it a win.
He is the backdrop.
Yes.
That's what makes it work.
Yeah.
It's so epic. And further to my point of we're not seeing the characters perfectly framed from foot to head. It's very cinematic. It's very selected.
There's a ton of pictures out there that are framed, as you said, and I don't need to add more of what's out there. I like to kind of do my own thing and be original and unique, and yeah, I guess that kind of pushed me in that direction.
It makes it a story and not a product shot.
Right.
Exactly. That is you've nailed it there. It is a story in an image, and I just love it. I'm just looking at them all now again.
All right. We've gushed enough, haven't we, Chief?
I actually was going to ask a question. This is my naivety, and again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I feel a bit like a part-timer sometimes in the G.I. Joe community because I don't necessarily know everything and everyone and all the products and things that are going on. But, and this is a new kind of thing for me, toy photography, in terms of being a fan of it. So have you got a couple of names of people that I need to check out?
Ooh, let me see here.
Or am I putting you on the spot there? I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, not at all. The Papalicious does nice stuff. Billy Kessler, Edwin 80s doing some awesome things. G.I. Joe 85, Cobra Rules Cybertron. I'm just going to list all of of people that I follow. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff out there.
Yeah, and I think I think I have even touched on some of those guys' works that you mentioned, and it is cool that different people are doing different things, which is nice. There's no standard template. There's no standard model that everyone needs to adhere to. You kind of run with your ideas, and there's no right and wrong, is there? If you come up with something cool and you try it out, you may have to take 143 different shots till you get the perfect one, but everyone has the ability to get there in the end.
Exactly.
Matt, my parting shot, buddy. Normally, by way of introduction, I want to know what everyone's favorite Joe figure, Cobra figure, vehicle is. I suppose you can answer that if you want to, but what I really want to know is something that dawned on me in the last couple of days. Is there a single character that you identified with most as a child? And do you identify with someone different now as an adult? Or is it still the same? Are you consistent?
It's still the same. It's Duke.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
True blue, all Canadian hero. Great stuff, man. Nice.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Duke was my first favorite. I maybe 4 years old, watching the cartoon. He was kind of the showrunner in the cartoon, at least. Not a lot of Snake Eyes action in the cartoon. I mean, he's got some dance routines and some cross-dressing going on, so...
They had to make him Boy George. My God.
Oh wow. Yeah. No. As a kid, Duke was my number one. Later, it turned into Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes is my favorite character, favorite figure as well. But yeah, Duke holds a special place. I mean, he's that Boy Scout. He's got his core values. Stands up for his core values. Yeah, and he's going to kick the mustard out of that hot dog.
That's it. Did you see Diagnostic 80 put out a top 10 Snake Eyes action figures video on the Full Force YouTube channel? Check that out. I think that came out a couple of weeks ago or this week. Really good, really good, and some off-the-wall choices for his top 10 Snake Eyes figures there, so check that one out. But
amazing. Yeah, I have to check that out for sure.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? 1991 for the win.
Well, check it out, and then you can either pick a bone with him or agree with him. Listen, it's been amazing you coming on the show. Thanks so much for spending the time with us here. If the good folks want to check out your work, I'm sure they already know, but for those first-time listeners, where can they find your work?
At MateMylar on Instagram, and believe it or not, at the Ghost Machina on Twitter. And yeah, that's a whole nother story for another day.
Good stuff. How do we close this show out, Steve? I forget.
I missed you, Duke. Yeah, by about that much. I don't know, Chief. We just say goodbye, everybody. Yo, Joe.
We say check us out on talking_Joe on Twitter. It's Talking Joe Comics on Instagram. Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast on Facebook. Hit us up on email, talkingjoecomics@gmail.com. If you want to help us out, you can go to the little purple icon, Apple Podcasts, rate us, give us 5 stars, tell them Chief and S-Jubs and MateMylar sent you. So, yeah, I think that's about it. And
I gave us 5 stars.
Did you? Good man. Good.
Yeah, you bet. I think I was the first person to review Talking.
I was gonna say, did you give us 5 stars after you came on as co-host?
No,
I'm joking.
I think I was the first person to write you an email as well.
I think you were.
Like you were like, oh, the second someone writes us a question, I'll send them something. I don't know.
Did you get something? No, you didn't. I didn't send you anything.
No, mate. I asked you and Ben what your favorite action figures and vehicles were, and you were like, we kind of answered that in the award show. But I was like, no, the overall.
Oh, right, we were snubbing you back then, were we? Jeez, big heads over here.
The scars run deep, buddy.
That's it. I got some interesting artwork actually recently. This catch up was for the front of the show. I'm going to put it at the back now, but I think I put it up. I had a few too rum and cokes last night, so I can't remember. But there was one Hooded Cobra Commander's daughter was doing commissions, and she did a Talking Joe with Chief and Steve. Chief as Destro and Steve as Stalker.
I saw those just before I came on. They're great.
Yeah, that's quality. And I've got another one coming from a guy called Dean Beattie, who has done another Talking Joe with Cesspool and Crystal Ball. And once I get a high-res scan, I will post that one up as well.
Nice.
But you've seen it. You've seen that one, S-Jubs. So I think that's a good one as well.
We famous, Chief. We got caricatures and everything. Damn.
Listen,
Hoodie's daughter is one talented little chick.
Yeah, Audrey,
Excellent.
Props to Audrey for that. Thanks so much for that commission.
Thank you.
But it's been a fun packed show. I've had an absolute blast. Thanks to our guest, MateMylar, aka MateMylar. And with all that said and done, we will catch you down the road.
Joe!